actually would be on House Bill 2100 on ESG. And I believe yesterday we talked about language to help bring the fiscal note for Capers back down to 0. And do we have the official language on that now?
Chairman, I don't have the language. Let me check and see where that might be at. So.
Okay. Because we want to make sure we get no fiscal note on that.
I feel we've overworked our revisers this week.
I think they are.
We're much appreciative of them.
Yes, that's right.
Chairman, can you just give us like 5 minutes to kind of go run that down?
Okay, that'd be fine, Dave. And we'll just stand down for 5 minutes here. And that sounds like a good plan. Yeah, we'll just recess for 5 minutes while we get the language on that. Let you explain it when you get a chance, Jason.
Mr. Chairman, these are amendments proposed by Capers. The first one is on page 4 in line 18, change an or to an and, so the corporation would be owned and controlled by a foreign adversary. Page 6 is where the bulk of the amendments are. There's a qualification, line 21, that would be publicly traded securities. In line 32, reference to systems assets that are under management. Some clarifying language there that if by the 450th day there isn't this substantially similar fund created or the publicly traded securities haven't been removed, then there's divestiture of those indirect holdings, and then clarification that both sections 4 and 5 apply to alternative or real estate investments as defined by the Capers statute referenced there that are entered into on or after July 1st, 2023. So that makes it prospective with respect to those two sections.
And that would take our fiscal note back down to zero for Capers, except for the $3.8 million fees, which are the typical fees for changing within the funds, correct? I believe that's how we decided yesterday. So that is that amendment which deals with the foreign adversaries.
Okay, and I do want to thank you for working on this amendment with Capers. I know the cost. We like to be good stewards of the public's money on this. I will say that I still, even with this change, find that amendment problematic, especially with the points that my ranking pointed out yesterday on the individual portion, any person, wherever located. I still find that problematic, so I think we still are holding firm on our position that we will accept 291 as is without the Senate floor amendment.
That's 291 with the solely, the Senate amendment.
We will in exchange for that, yeah, giving up the amendment, we will give up the solely and accept the rest of your language.
As a House position, you're firm.
Yeah, we're pretty firm. I had a conversation with both my ranking and my vice chair last night on it. Had a conversation with leadership today. We're pretty firm on this. Again, I don't object to the concept. I would like to thoroughly vet it through committee. What else I can offer as chair of Pensions Investment and Benefits Interim Committee this year, I can promise that we will have this on the agenda to look at. And we will thoroughly vet it, and if need, the committee can introduce legislation next year and sponsor legislation. So if need be, we can introduce legislation at the beginning of next year and run it through our committees for thorough vetting.
Looking at the foreign adversary part, looking at the fair access part perhaps as well, which is not part of this.
I can only speak to the foreign adversary part on right now. We can have a discussion later on the fair access piece, but I just want to stick to the topic at this moment of the foreign adversary stuff.
If you want to make it, yeah, go ahead.
I mean, at some point, we're going to have to deal with that. It's not just as a state, nation. I'm a little mixed on it.
And
I appreciate the offer of an interim committee to study this because, as I mentioned last time, I have a lot of concerns with that amendment. Obviously, the wording has some concerns, plus the fact that it was not thoroughly vetted. We didn't even have a fiscal note at that point to really consider when the amendment was brought forward in the Senate. So, while this is a topic that needs some discussion, it also needs some scrutiny. And I appreciate the offer of an interim committee to take a look at that, as well as some of the other aspects that you that you discussed, so thank you.
Thank you for that. In the response to the senator, I do agree. We do need to look at this. I just think some of the language in here is problematic. The hours grow shorter. You know, this is the last train out of town. I think this does need a little more scrutiny, and quite frankly, we're running out of time to get something passed right now. So that's why I would like to take the language and then have the Pensions, Investments, and Benefits Committee, when we do meet, look at this topic further.
Well, obviously, we're not happy with that, because I think the amendment crossed the floor, passed out 27-11. It was not vetted in committee, but we felt fairly strongly about the adversaries piece, and feel fairly strongly that that needs to happen. Perhaps the interim committee is a better way to go. I think it looks like it'd be a 4-2 split on this anyhow. And to protect the underlying bill, we'll agree with that. Yeah, this is something that's fairly important. And I think from a Senate position, not only foreign adversaries, we've got to look at what all is happening around the state. And so to protect the underlying bill, we'll just pull out this foreign adversaries amendment and return to the original. Is this bill, Jason, in, this is in 2100, correct? HB 2100 is the shell we're using, correct?
That's correct. The conference is on House Bill 2100.
So it would be then the language, the original language from 291, the Senate version goes into House Bill 2100 without this amendment.
2100 as it stands, I'm sorry, yes, 291 as it stands now without the amendment, the Senate floor amendment.
There's some language differences in the Senate version versus the House version, yeah.
And you know, we're definitely willing to accept those language changes that you guys have on this, so.
Okay. All righty. I think that's it.
And my ranking has informed me that he will not sign the CCR, so we will have to do a agree to disagree.
Agree to disagree. Okay. All righty.
And I respect that position, but we need to move the ball along.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, I think that's all our work. We'll have to get the agree to disagree. Will you have to reconvene or just sign it and turn it in, Jason, on that one?
No, I will bring the agree to disagree for signatures as soon as it's ready. You can run that first, and then traditionally you then reconvene for the full report.
The full report, okay.
And then the agree to disagree will be on 2100, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And my guess is, because we have a conference committee well, I have two of them back to back at recess of the second chamber, I'll have to touch base with you. I mean, it probably won't take very long, but I don't want three lined up against each other. So I'll just be in contact with you, and we'll try to.
Shoot me a text. This is our last conference committee, so we're flexible, whatever you need, Senator.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your hard work, Senator.
Thank you. We're adjourned. Thank you.